because they like being such people. I was invited to be the keynote speaker at the International Legal Conference on Freedom of Speech and Religion coming up in Washington, D.C. on October 27th and 28th. It's put out by the International Free Press Society, Liberty Legal Project International. And I never do speeches. I never go anywhere, but the conference is mainly for the press, the media, and attorneys. There are various senators and congressmen coming. It's about hate speech laws, hate crime laws, insult laws, blasphemy laws, and things of that nature. And all the people who are really interested in freedom of speech are going to be speaking there and attending. And it's about the fairness doctrine. It's about criticism. And they made me, well, she offered me to become the woman who's running it is a real fan of the Savage Nation. One of the members of Parliament will be there, who's a member of the House of Lords, who brought Geert Wilders to show the movie Fitna in England, in the House of in Parliament. And there are other great people who are going to speak there, including my friend Ellis Washington, who first pointed this out to me. And we're going to post the space is limited. I think it's only 400 seats, truthfully. And I have nothing to do with organizing it. I'm not making any money from it, so don't think I'm pushing. I want you to understand that it's a very important break for freedom of speech and the First Amendment. Legal scholars are going to be there. The biggest First Amendment legal scholars are going to be there. People in the press who still believe in freedom of the press are going to be there. And I was invited to be the keynote speaker, and I've accepted because it's that important. And I believe that if I am surrounded by these people, the evildoers in the Labour government of Britain will be exposed for who they are, and those in the American media who are, in essence, in cahoots with them will also be exposed for who they are. I don't have the link up right now. I don't want to read it to you because you'll never find it. You know, read online. I can't remember the website. I'll put it up this week, I promise you. And now on to the news of the day. The man who broke the English pound, the man who almost broke the English pound, the money trader in the Temple of Freedom, who would take away your life itself for another dollar, the man who almost broke the Malaysian pound, who is trading in U.S. currency as we speak, and has weakened the U.S. dollar to the point that now the UN, the vermin in the UN, want the dollar replaced by a global currency. The very same people who have put Michael Savage on the banned in Britain list, because I'm first, not last, there will be others, now want to destroy your currency and take away all your freedoms. You haven't any idea where we are at, because the government media complex has you bamboozled. And although Pelosi and Reid are the most unpopular figures in the history of Congress, they keep smiling and marching forward because they're progressives, and progressives always want progress. Even if they're hated, despised, doesn't matter, because the greater good for the smaller number is what's important. And that's the important thing, is to rush it through, jam it through, do it the Rahm Emanuel way, ram it through so Ezekiel can decide how much medical care you get at the end of your life. And if you're 65, according to Ezekiel Emanuel, you've been alive 40 years longer than a 25-year-old, and you're entitled to 40 times less medical care. That's the way it works, because we have fewer years and you've got less medical care. You had more medical care than the 25-year-old, therefore you have to ration it. That's how it works, which is why the town hall meetings are so important, which is why you've been called thugs and Nazis. Now I'm going to take calls for the rest of this hour. I've done a wonderful performance so far today. I've given you some news, views, and reviews. I have showed you that although Fox News should get the credit for bringing down the green shirt, who would have become a brown shirt, in my opinion, Van Jones, they should get the credit because they have the power and I don't. It was Michael Savage on March 12th, 2009, who first wrote from brown shirts to green shirts to point out this sterling individual, Van Jones, and his background attacking police. It's up on michaelsavage.com for those of you who think the hem did it. The fact of the matter is, without a dress, there can be no hem. New York City, Pauline, WOR, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Michael, I have to tell you, tonight's show is just awesome. I never heard you like this. You're just, like, blowing me away. I'm just upset.
Well, this is what I made my name with. I used to do a free associational shows 3 hours a day when I was a local host almost every day. I didn't stop. I had this energy then. I've been very tired this last year from the beating I've taken from the illegitimate left, and it's been very hard for me to get into this mindset. But I was off Friday, I was off Monday, I had a 4-day rest. So here it is. I can't do it every day, Pauline, but this is the actual what goes on thing.
To tell you, Michael, what an education and such information I get. I have to tell you this one little thing. When my husband and I used to go out, he used to go to me, you know, you look a little too sexy. Now when we go out, he goes, remember, no politics, because I like to hear people's opinions, and before you know it, there's a big uproar wherever we go.
That's right. Don't discuss politics or religion. You're liable to learn something. Pauline, you win a free copy of what? Name the book, and you get a free copy coming out to you when it's printed.
God bless you, Michael.
Well, no, you have to name the book.
Oh, my mind just went blank. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's English.
All right, I'm a nice guy, but name it now. Look it up on michaelsavage.com. You want to do it right now?
I can't. I'm not even on the computer. I'm so sorry. It's about the free speech, not free speech in England. All right.
I don't want to be mean. Banned in Britain. Give it to Pauline. Stay on the line. I'm a nice guy. I'm not a cheap guy who eats corned beef and cabbage. That's all. I'm a guy who lets the dollar fly. You know, I said that if you took a cube and you put Oderman and softball on two sides, and the Lep and the wall banger on the other side, and you know, no matter which way you threw the cube, it doesn't matter because the guy who's throwing the cube owns the networks. Don't you get it? See what I'm saying? That's what I was getting at. It doesn't really make, talking heads, yak, yak, don't talk back, yakety yak, don't talk back. See, when you talk back, you're no good. When they talk back, it's good. And that's why you never hear of me except on the show, which is where I belong. When I thought about it, I had an epiphany about it. I like the word epiphany, so I'll use it a little bit. It's like gravitas lasted for 3 months. Remember everyone using it. Everyone in the media. He has gravitas. What is it? I don't know. It's something like cheese or something. But he has it. Gravitas. Remember everyone used those pat words? Now epiphany is in the news a lot. Everyone's using it in the media. It's epiphany. He had an epiphany. It's epiphany. So I had an epiphany about the fact that the Lep and the wall banger were really the bookend in a way to Oderman and softball. Yak, yak. MSNBC versus Fox. Savage is not on either channel. They have hookers, prostitutes, murderers, criminals, killers, four-headed men, three-headed men, two-headed men, sports stars, criminals, rapists, mass murderers, radio talk shows no one ever heard of, but never Michael Savage. How is that possible? Because they're all part of the same Rubik's Cube. Don't you understand? And the man who throws that cube is the man who owns the networks. Now you say, the man. Interlocking board of directors. Check it out. You think that NBC is different than Fox? You're right. Except when you start looking at the crossover between the men on the boards, the men and women on the boards of News Corporation, and the 19% ownership by the Saudis. Excuse me, we forgot that. That was big news years ago. It's been forgotten now, which is why the minority shareholder says, not that Savage. He stopped the Dubai Ports deal. Him? Yes. Therefore, he will not be heard from again. Because the name was put on a list in Britain in December of 2008 when Bush was in power. It wasn't Obama. See, again, the cue ball. You thought it was Obama when it was Bush. Now, why would Bush do that? Because Savage said Bush was a fiscal socialist at least a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, and he said to you about this time last year, September of 2008, if my calendar is correct, watch out, Bush is not done yet. He's got 3 to 4 more months waiting to see what he does. And sure enough, it was the last 3 months that he really gave it to you, you know where. He really gave you a royal screwing. He got Paulson. Paulson. Mr. Paulson, where'd the money come? And billions went up in smoke. Well, really not. It went to Wall Street to the company that the Treasury Secretary, Hank Paulson, worked for. It was Goldman Sachs, after all. It was turned into a bank one weekend last December. While Jingle Bells was playing, Goldman Sachs was turned into a bank. Why? Because they knew that the slush fund that they took from you was going to go only to banks. Since Goldman Sachs was as an investment bank, they turned it into a commercial bank so that Henry Paulson could make it a very white Christmas. You know what I mean? After all, the bonuses had still got to come from somewhere. So he made sure that the bonus money came from the stimulus money, which came from the hocus pocus Lemony Ocas, helter skelter. All right, Mr. Paulson, we have a hearing now. Where'd that money come from? Where did it go? Where are you, Mr. Paulson? Where have you been? Michigan. Where was Chris Cox while Bernie Madoff was robbing the public? How come billions of dollars got robbed by Mr. Madoff from Palm Beach and from Far Rockaway? How could he do that while the SEC, the watchdog, was watching a Chris Cox who was blonde and short-haired, and the picture of the good Republican was in charge of the SEC, not investigated, of course, because he didn't know a thing about it. He was appointed by Bush and loved by everybody who said he was a good conservative, and therefore, how come he didn't do anything? Well, because the SEC's job was to make sure nothing was done. They are the proverbial fox in the henhouse, and therefore, the only job the SEC ever had was to make sure that there was no investigation of any wrongdoing. And so the world turns, and the wheels go round and round. And we'll move at that point into, let us say, The Wheels Go Round and Round by the Beatles. That was a cue which you couldn't have followed because I didn't tell you to even get it in the archive.